What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight. Continue our lake breakdown series for Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma. We have worked on the eastern section, we've worked on the north and west section of Highway 69, and now it's time to go south. So we're going to work on the southern section. That's basically the triangle south and Highway 9 south. That's what we're going to look at tonight. We're going to have a couple videos down here talking about what all we found. It's going to be a good one. Let's go. Here we are on Google Earth, back looking at Lake Eufaula. And if you've missed any of the lake breakdowns before, let me just go down through this with you really quick. First off, we broke this lake into three different sections. So we talked about the eastern section up here. This would be anything east of Highway 69, pretty much in north of Highway 9, or kind of guess north of the triangle, I guess I should say. But we covered all of that. That was two or maybe even three different videos. I think it was three different Google Earth videos that we did. So go check those out on our lake breakdown playlist. That's out there on our channel. Then we went over and we talked about Eufaula Northwest and west of Highway 69. So anything west of Highway 69, we covered this. We went in this video and talked about this. Then we went up, we came back down, and we talked about that whole section. So that covered us for north and west of Highway 69. And so tonight what we're going to do is we're going to start focusing on the southern side. So you can see here I missed a little point, so you get an extra one there. But we're going to work on the southern section of Lake Eufaula. So let's talk about how we have this broken down first. First off, we have it set up for bridges and culverts. Let me just uncheck all this, and we'll just click on the certain ones that we have. So we've got lots of different bridges, culverts, roadbeds, all kinds of stuff like that. Some of the stuff may be washed up. Some of the stuff may not even be there anymore, but some of the stuff definitely should be there. And these are all the things that we found by looking on the Navionics side, and it shows us if there's any type of debris or old roadbeds, old bridges, all kinds of stuff. We take all of that and we bring it in here, we import it in and put them all together for you. We've also got brush piles, and these are brush piles that the Oklahoma Fisheries Department has put out there for us. So you've got quite a few of those. You can see them all here. These are all the different trees. I know most of you are thinking, man, you're a bass fisherman. Why are you worried about the brush piles? Those are crappie things. But I'm telling you, I've caught some big old bass around these brush piles. So they can definitely be a place that you want to go look. If the crappie are there, the bass are pretty close by because the bass like to eat the crappie as well. So definitely look at these. These are all coordinates that we brought in from the state. So you'll have those there to take a look at. Then we've got channels, ponds, all kinds of good stuff. These are different ponds that are out there that you can take a look at, and we'll show you those on Google Earth. And then these green lines, these are tracks. So if you can get around a ditch or a creek channel, something like that, that's going to position you right in the center of those creek channels. So pretty cool stuff there. And then we've got offshore hotspots, which we're going to talk about later on. We haven't even talked about the offshore stuff on the east side. So we'll come back, we'll talk about those. We're going to do all of those from Navionics boating app, so that way we can see the contours. We've got ramps and slabs to talk to you about. We've got several different areas where we found rock, whether they be key formations of rock right on the shoreline or rock that we were able to find by the lake being down. And then last but not least, all kinds of different structure, like man-made structure, houses, stuff like that, and structures such as humps, and then cover, laydowns, debris, stuff like that. So let's go ahead and get started. What we usually do is we'll start on one side, and we'll just work our way down. So let's go ahead and start right up here at Highway 9, where we ended off the east section. Up here, it looks like I missed a little waypoint. This one should have been on the east section. We got some laydowns that are up there if you want to go look at that, but not much going on other than that around that point. But as we get around the point and we get here, this is going to start us on the southern section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm just going to hide that sidebar so we have the entire screen here. And we're going to start going through this. So first off, I shouldn't have done that. I should bring back that sidebar and take off the offshore stuff. All right, now we're rocking and rolling. So we take off the offshore stuff because we're going to look at that later. Let's move that sidebar back. Now we're good to go. And what we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the date and the time. And I'm just going to start to draw this back. So I'm on 2023 right now. And what I'm going to do is just keep drawing it back until I start to see the water come down. And I believe when we get here, you'll actually be able to see it pretty good. It's going to be 2012. I think it was 14 or 15. I thought it was where we were. 17, maybe a good one. Let's look right here. So here we can see the water's drawing down pretty good. Let's draw it back to 2014. No, not really. So 2017 is going to be our best image that we can get up here in this area. So let's go ahead and talk about what we have up here. Just starting off, obviously you've got the riprap, you've got the bridge. You want to fish in these areas of the bridge. You've got a ramp over here. That's the Highway 9 South Boat Ramp. You've got some shallow riprap that's going on around this little park area. You can see it all here. So that can be a good area to go up, do a little bit of shallow crank and stuff like that. You can see a little bit more of it right in here. But I mean, we're talking super, super shallow. It looks like you may have an old submerged bridge that's out here as well, and then another boat ramp. As we get back in here, we got some more stuff in here too. So like right in here, I love this little area. I love anytime you can get these little pinch points and there's something on them, like some kind of cover, or it's hard, or in this case, there may even be an old bridge down here. These are money spots. You definitely want to look at these spots. Look at this nice little rock coming out here right off the edge of this point. And if there is a bridge there, like it tells us there is, you want to look at that for sure. Now, you also want to check right here too, because it says there's a submerged culvert in here. If the culvert's not there, the thing you can really look at is notice this little rocky area. It started right here at this point. So you had a little transition going on right here. And the rocks really started right here off this point and came all the way down right to about this section. So this section definitely has some potential for sure. Got another culvert that's back there as well. As we move up, and in fact, I might take off these bridges and culverts really quick because most of those we're not going to be able to see. So what we'll do is we'll talk about those when we get over to into Navionics. I'm going to take those off so they don't confuse us here as we're going through Google Earth, because you're wondering why I have these magical marks out there. So come over here. We talked about that rock. We're going to come down. We've got some more rocky areas right in here. And notice, you got like this pebble-ish rock. There's another decent little rock pile right there, but this little pebble-ish rock. And then right in here, it changes and it gets really, really hard right in here. And this reminds me a lot of like Lake Murray, where you have those ridges that come out and they're really sharp, look like really sharp rocks. This is somewhat pretty similar to that. So definitely right in here is going to be a really good hard spot. I know I put rock there, but really it is rock, but it's a big hard area. So it should definitely be a good spot to go find something there. And then we're going to move down. As we move down here, we get down by the island by Lake Eufaula. You got a house foundation that's out there, so that'd be pretty cool to look at. And then we move down. We're going to get down here in these where this little channel comes through. And of course, anytime you get in these little pinch point areas, you want to look around at the bank line, because when you see the lake make a big turn, you always want to look left and look right. And typically, if you see that big turn, if you're in a creek channel or a river channel, one of those sides is going to have some rock on it where it's all washed off and it's all eroded away. And my guess is right here, if I zoom in right here to the corner, that's going to be my rock. And boom, you found it. See the turn right here? And then here you have some pretty good rock. So we probably should have marked that spot right there. That looks like a really good rocky area. That whole bank line's kind of rock. That's probably why we didn't mark it, but I really like that spot right there. Look how big those rocks are. Let's go ahead and mark that thing, because we may want to go fish that. So that looks like a really good spot, definitely to take a look at. Now going down here, you do have some rock along these bank lines, but again, this is Lake Eufaula and it's got rock in a lot of different spots. So we try to just kind of mark the high percentage areas. Obviously, we couldn't mark every single piece of rock on this lake, or you'd have 1,000 different waypoints. Now we do have some humps that are out here, so some different structure and stuff to take a look at. I'm going to go ahead and move this back again. We have the hump here to take a look at. We've also got some rock that's over in here as well. So if we get up here into this point, now you got to be careful because there's stumps everywhere. And actually, I'm getting sidetracked here. I saw that rock. I wanted to go over there immediately instead of finishing what I was talking about. That's all right. We'll just go ahead and keep going. So you got the rock that's right in here. You've also got a little rock right in here too. So notice how it's muddy, kind of that muddy, sandy stuff. But then you got these little hard spots that are right in those areas. There's 2 points right there, probably marked on it from an offshore standpoint. Those can be pretty good too, depending on how the depth. Got a couple humps that are out there that we'll talk to you about on the offshore side. And then we get back in here, we've got some ponds. So In Texas where we fish a ton, these pond dams, they are muddy in the summertime. I don't know about what the deal is with the rest of the year. I just don't seem to have much luck with them the rest of the year, but the summertime, they are money, money, money. So anytime we see these ponds, we definitely want to mark them for you. So you've got a pretty decent little pond dam going on right there and a really good little creek channel that comes through there too. So something to look at. Probably gets pretty muddy back in here just based on what I'm seeing, but maybe not. You've got a little bit of debris down here too. I don't know what this stuff is, but just some stuff to be able to fish around. You've got a hump that's out here again that we talked about, and then we've got these creek channels that are over here as well that you could look at. So that really covers us for this bottom piece. Let's go back up, see if we missed anything on this side. We do have this area right in here. So notice how it's pretty much the sand and dirt everywhere. You got a little creek coming back here, so you got a little rock back in here, but you got rock up in here too off this little secondary point that comes through here. I really like this spot right in here, especially if that creek's got some flowing water, they could set up in here pretty easily. I just like that position where they can position themselves there. Then up here, we've got a ramp, a couple more creek channels that go back in there, but nothing too major. Another creek channel up there too that you could take a look at. Let's go ahead and move on over. We're going to go across Highway 9 now. And now we're going to come over here and get below, south of Highway 9 on this side. You've got a little hump that comes out here. And this thing looks interesting. It looks like it might have some rock on it as well. And it's really close to the highway there. So you should be able to find it on your finder pretty easily, especially if you have these waypoints from Simplistic Fishing. Then you can just basically, just go right to the point. So it should be pretty easy. You've also got some house foundations out here. These you can actually see. The lake's down far enough, you can see these house foundations. These are great places to find offshore fish. They just love hanging around debris and junk like that. And that's just a great place to go find fish. So you definitely want to go look there at those foundations. You've also got some rock that's right in here too. Show you this right here. This one looks pretty good. Pretty decent little rock right there too. And I believe these waypoints that I've shown you, they should actually be more in the northwest section. I guess they wouldn't be northwest. So these would still be right. So anyways, some interesting stuff going on right there. Now let's get south of this highway now, 9A. And what we find back in here is just a couple different things. You got a couple flats that are up here that could get interesting. They may get up here and feed and possibly even spawn out here. You never know. It's pretty well protected. So probably a pretty good area to just do some searching around these flats. Let's stay on this side and then we'll work our way back on the other side. We got some rock that's off this point that looks really interesting. This whole point looks good. Just fishing out here where my hand is up top all the way to the outside. Plus you have this giant boulder that's there too. What we haven't done since we've been going through this is raise up the water. And I think this is a really good spot to look at it and, just raise the water up and see what this would look like today if we were out there. So here we are in 2017. We talked about that big old rock. I love places like this to see what they actually look like if I pulled up on them, because a lot of times they look completely different than what we're seeing here. So 2017, 2018, still pretty shallow in 2018. Now we got 2021, and that's as far as it goes. And you can see it looks completely different. It just doesn't pop out like it did just a second ago in 2017. So this is going to be a great spot. I love this spot. It's probably one of the best spots I've seen that we've gone through so far as me, like what fits to my skills. And I really like that spot. I like those house foundations we talked about earlier as well. Got some more flats over here, some additional rock that's really just kind of scattered in. Like here, pretty blah bank line, a little bit of rock scattered. But right in here is a really good hard spot. And you can see the rocks get pretty heavy just right in this area. So good crankbait spot to go check out. Looks like we missed it, but there's some tires out here too. I see them right here now. You got some tires right here that the boat owner or the dock owners must have put out, little scattered rock. You've also got some more that's over here. These look like they could be potential tires. You may even have some potential tires over here. I mean, all these little points look good. This point looks good. It's got some pretty healthy rock on it. This one looks good. It's got some decent rock on it. And then these two spots will be marked for you guys as well. And then going out here on the flat, I don't know what these dark circles are. Those could be tires out there on top of the flat too. So there's no telling what's out there, but a good area to scan around and probably a good area to focus on. I like this point right here as we were talking about it. Just for some reason, it just calls my name and says, hey, fish me. I would definitely go look at that one. Let's move on around and see what else we can find. We get back in here by the blue heron hideout. I wonder if there's a bunch of blue herons there. But anyways, they got some pretty good rock around their dock. Now, talk about that, man. You got this isolated dock to fish. And then while you're at it, you've got this nice rock that's all around this area. And you could even come up here further north. And this entire bank line's got some really good rock too. So, of course, like I said, we can't mark every single rocky spot on this lake, or we'd have a ton of waypoints for you. But I think this spot, if I'm going to fish this area, which could be a good area to get out of the wind on, I'm going to spend a lot of time focusing on that dock, and then also all the areas around it where all that rock is, and then probably go up this bank line too and check out that rock that's in there. Probably hit up that dock as well, but this one looks a lot better. This dock looks like it could be fairly shallow. Doesn't have a lot around it. Not a lot going on with that dock. A little bit of rock, but love that one. Love that one a lot. All right, so let's keep moving down, see what else we can find down in here. I'm going to pull back where you guys can see where I'm at. I'm at Gaines Creek. So Gaines Creek Recreational Area. As I get in here, basically just have some flats back in here. This could be a good place for them to push the shad back into, to do spawning, all the stuff that they'd like to do in the flats. This is a good place to be able to find them. The only issue that I have with this area of flats is that it could get blown out. And if that wind's coming from the north, this thing is going to be rocking and rolling more than likely, depending on how big this gap is from the land from here to here. But that would be the only knock against this area. But you got some rock over here that they could hang out at as well. You got a decent little round little point right there. You got a ramp that's right there. So some stuff to look at. We're going to move on down. We're going to see some humps in here. There's another hump there. Got some additional rock. It's just kind of scattered along this bank line. You get like these big pockets of rock. So like right here, you have a big pocket of rock, got a big pocket of rock right here as well. Even right there, right off that point could be pretty good. But this all looks good. And again, if we move that up, it's going to look a lot different when you're out there. You're going to probably be able to tell that there's rock, but notice that whole bank line looks the same. But when we took it back to 2017 or even 2018, I think it'll show us too. You can see it's heavier right here off these little points. So then moving over here, same type thing. You've got all these little points that come out, but only two of them have this rock on them. And that's right in here and right in here. And then you got some pretty decent little rock in here, but I really like those two spots that we marked there for you guys. A little bit more back in here, kind of the same thing. And then you've got these rock little points that come out here. And we marked all these because just the way that they set up, they just set up really, really well. You got these little points that point out. You've got really thick, jagged rocks all the way through here. And then it kind of stops for a minute, and then it comes right back. You hit it again, and then it's pretty much gone. And if you want to see what that one looks like, as we move it up, let's move it to 2021. And as we move that up, you can't even hardly tell that that's what that looks like when the water's down. That's not down that much, but it's down enough to where we can tell that there's a lot more going on there than what meets the eye. So I'm going to keep moving back. We're going to go here. We've got a hump that's over here. We've got an old house foundation, another creek channel there. There's not too much back in this little section. There's a few things to show you. There's some rock that's over here. Let's zoom in and take a look at this stuff. These are just little pockets of rock, right? Like little rock piles and just little isolated areas that you can go check out. I'd scan that whole entire bank line though, just based on what we're seeing here. Then let's go down. Let's get here, back here in this little pocket back here. Just a little hump that comes out. This one could be pretty good. I like the way they're positioned. It's just going to depend on if they have any rock on top of them or anything like that, but just a couple humps to go take a look at. And then moving back here, we've got some rock off the edges of these points. So as we zoom in, you're going to start to see it. Just some really good rocky areas right there and some really good chunkier rock, like a harder area right there as well. Then moving down, we got more rock. Some of those brush piles we talked about, the Oklahoma Fisheries put in there. So we have those out there. Not sure why those little trees are so small, but I'll make them bigger. And then as we come over here, we've also got some rock or what appears to be maybe an old roadbed, because this looks like it was an old road at one time. But you've got a lot of rock right in there. And that's a really isolated area. So I could see them collecting up in that area really easily. Let's move over here. Let's get off this point where this rock is as well. Let's see what we can find out here. So we've got Some pretty light rock right in here off this point, but again, real good hard point. You even got a little pile over here too. Notice it gets really fine rock here, but then it gets bigger. It's bigger off that point as well. And you got another good group of them right in here. Again, if we move that up 2021, it's going to look a lot different. So move it back. Now we can see what we're talking about. We're going to come back here off this. I'm going to call this a point because it's not really an island because it connects, but it may look like an island. Probably does when you pull the water up. Nope, it still connects. So we're going to come out here. We're calling it an island. That's what I'm going with. And on the back side of this island has got some juicy stuff, some really good rock going on. Good rock piles there, good rock here. They're just little pockets of them. You hit the fine stuff and then you hit the rock, and then you hit the fine stuff and then the rock. But some really good rock all on the backside of that island for you. Then we're going to go down here. We're going to go a little bit further. We'll probably stop at that bridge, and then we'll keep going from there. But we'll go down and see what else we can find here. We've got another house, a couple of house foundations out here. We've got some laydowns that are going on out in this area. You can see them, some pretty good laydowns. That almost looks like a brush pile there underneath that one. I'm not sure if that's a laydown or not. Then you got these old ponds. So we went ahead and marked the old ponds for you. So those little waves are. And then getting down in here, another house foundation that's way out here. We can't see it, but we'll verify it on Navionics for you when we go do the offshore stuff. And then over here, this looks interesting. You have this pretty much nothing going on here. And then you have these little rocky areas right here, right here, right here. There's even a little debris there too, a little tire. So decent looking little flat point, they can get up on, they can do some feeding, all that good stuff. That could be a great spot to stop at. As we move further back in here, the water's actually getting higher in here in this image. So I'm going to have to draw this back and see if I can change it. The image is not changing for you. Here's the rock. You can see it here on the bank line. We couldn't really see it in the 2017 image. In fact, 2017 is now gone away, so I don't even have that image anymore. So we'll go back to see what we can get here. Hopefully we can get a decent one. Here we go. We'll go back to 2012. So we go back to 2012. Now you can see this again. It looks like you got just brush and stuff here, but here's the rock, little rocky ledge that's out there. So you go check that out and fish around that. Got some more rock down in here too. You could check out all these little different points. And then I think we're going to get down here to the end of the pocket here. You got a decent little creek channel that comes through there, but that could be an interesting place to go look at. Pretty protected as well. Nice little flat back there. We talked about that boat ramp. Now let's talk about this one that's up here off the main point. This, another good ramp. Anytime you can find a ramp that's on a main lake point like this, the fish just like it. And then notice that dock's all by its lonesome. So as long as you can fish that dock, I don't know if you can do that in Oklahoma or not, but if you can fish the docks in Oklahoma, that would be one that I would want to fish. Then we're going to move down here. We got some rock that's out here off of this point. Not a lot, but enough of a hard spot where I could see them collecting here and, doing some feeding and stuff like that. Then we're going to come on down. Again, another good point there too. We didn't mark that one, but probably marked it on the offshore side. But we get back in here, just a couple of things to look at. You got a pretty decent little laydown that's back here. You can kind of see if I keep it from being blurry, but it's right there. And then you got some rock that's right here as well. So decent, almost like a little rocky ledge like we saw earlier. Then another slab that's back there. Some more rock that's over here. This is going to be tough. I don't even know if that's going to go underwater. Let's take it up to 2021. Maybe. It might be partially underwater. So you could go look and see if you can find it there. In 2017, you can really see it. Now it's letting me go back to 2017. Then I'm going to lose my image again. But then we got some more rock that's right in there too. So let's pull this back and see if we have anything else down here that we could look at. Nothing that we need from Google Earth side, so we won't worry about changing the image. But we've got a boat ramp that's right there. Actually, probably should. There's a boat ramp that's right here. We've got it marked. And just right by the boat ramp, literally you could put a John boat in here and have a heyday because you just put in right here. You could fish this little pocket. You've got 4 different brush piles that are back there. You've got a house foundation that's over here that you can mess around with too, that you can see. And then again, you got more of those brush piles all along this whole bridgeway. And then, of course, you want to fish the openings there too. Those are always great places to look. So let's go ahead and stop there. We're going to stop on, what was that? Blocker Road. We're going to stop on Blocker Road. And when we come back on the next video, we'll continue our way south and see what else we can find. And then we'll work our way all the way back up to where we started. So guys, if you haven't done it yet, please go out, check out our website, simplisticfishing.com. We have all these waypoints ready for you to be put onto your graph. So you can basically either get the files from me, emailed from me, or you can purchase from the site and we'll send you the SD card. Then you just take the SD card, put it in your graph, and off you go. It will change the way you fish. It allows you to pattern the lake very, very quickly. I'm telling you, it's definitely worth the purchase. So go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.